What's cracking, guys? Omar Esop here with a special guest today, Dr. Chris Clatchin. Chris, thank you for being here.
Good to be here, very good to be here.
So this is the man himself, the person that's treated me, some of the people you've seen in my videos, kept me healthy. I've, suffered a variety of issues, my hip, my shoulder, really, training a lot. I think most people accrue a lot of injuries that happen. Powerlifting also is very demanding, or training in general. So Chris is the person that has kept me healthy. A lot of people watching the videos have, said how they want to know what to do about themselves or figure out what's going wrong with them. Today we're going to talk about shoulders. Chris, how about you just introduce yourself? Who are you and what do you do?
Okay, my name is Dr. Chris Clatchin. I am a chiropractor, trained also in a bunch of different soft tissue techniques. I'm also an instructor in the McMaster acupuncture program. And big thing we're here to talk about today is shoulder injury. And not just the injury, but the functional deficit that produced that injury.
Right, because you've treated quite a few powerlifters or athletes, and you notice some commonalities either in what they do that equals the injury or how they get injured, or just some of those functional deficits you're saying.
Absolutely. So most of the injuries I see in my clinic with lifters and or athletes aren't often traumatic injuries. So there wasn't an incident, it's an accumulation of micro-traumas over time due to some type of functional deficit. So I'm looking for certain patterns when they walk in my door or I'm at their facility. I see them on the floor, lifting a weight, doing what they do. I need to establish what these patterns are, not just the diagnosis.
And then treat them in a way so that they can get back to lifting and doing whatever they do.
Absolutely. Like, everything is kind of wear and tear, and everything doesn't work in the direction we need it to.
Right.
So you need to figure out what you need to do to bring it back there.
Okay, so let's get right into shoulders. Talk to me then, what do you see? What are the most common problems?
Well, first and foremost, the most common thing I see is forward rounding of the shoulder.
Okay, explain what that is.
So if we take Omar here and we roll forward his scapula, this is an anterior tipping of the shoulder. So what you typically get is excessive tension through the pectoralis minor. And the big problem with this is if you're trying to put a bar on your back, you need increased external rotation to get in that position. And if you don't have that, you're going to get forward translation of the humerus, which is going to end up pinching some of the anterior structures. So a big thing I see is a lot of bicep tendinopathy or tendinitis, supraspinatus tendinopathy or tendinitis. And the big thing to correct that is to figure out how to reposition that scapula via soft tissue techniques for maybe the pectoralis and some of the other things might be producing it, and working with some of the antagonists to the pec, like the lower trap, to set the scapula better. So one of the most common things I hear from a lot of lifters is getting under the bar sucks. And what the problem isn't that it's getting in the bar and getting external rotation, it's that the anterior tippage of the scapula is producing too much strain in the front of the shoulder. So if we have Omar tip his shoulders forward, immediately you see a compensation in his posture. So you're not only going to get tissue issues in the front of the shoulder, you're going to get issues even in the low back. But what I need to do most commonly is get in and ascertain what tissues are most affected and what are producing this forward tippage. Most commonly, you're going to get pec fibers, both pec major and pec minor, that are pulling this forward. Oftentimes, you're also going to get inhibition of the lower trapezius. So the tricky thing with this is that not only does training reinforce these issues, but life reinforces these issues. You got a really smart guy named Vladimir Janda, a famous Czech physiatrist, that showed a lot of these anterior structures are phylogenetically predisposed to tightness, and we need to release those. And other structures like the lower trapezius are predisposed to inhibition or weakness, and we need to strengthen those guys. So when you look at the shoulder joint, you always have to remember glenohumeral joint, scapulothoracic. Whatever's happening at the scapulothoracic will also affect what's happening at the glenohumeral joint. Another big take-home point from the shoulder joint is force vectors. So they don't show the deltoid here, but I can overlay it with my hand. And if you think about the line of drive of the deltoid, anytime you're overhead pressing, it pulls the humeral head up. And what does that do? It pinches the supraspinatus tendon. Now, we've removed a bone from here, part of the scapula called the acromion. When that pinches up, it is effectively doing micro-trauma to that supraspinatus over and over and over again. So what you then need to oppose the vertical line of drive of the deltoid are the inferiorly oriented fibers of the infraspinatus and teres minor, teres major, even subscapularis. This guy might be prone to a little bit of tightness, but it can be prone to tightness and weakness. So there again is another reason to do all your accessory work for that. You might not always want to just do external rotation work. I'm also a proponent of doing things like face pulls, doing things that are a little bit more dynamic and allow that scapulo-thoracic motion as well as that glenohumeral motion. So once I get the athlete on the table, next thing I'm looking at is just how that scapula sits relative to the other one with just a gravitational tension. You can see on the left side, it's not perfect, it sits a little bit lower. On the right side, I have to force it down, and that takes a little bit of work. So following that, I'll get in, and immediately I can feel that his pec minor, and as you can tell, it's tight, and he can feel it. And he'll tell you immediately, as soon as I get my fingers on that tissue, that it needs to be worked.
Yeah. So this is actually something we have been working on.
It certainly has, and you know, some people have the luxury of spending time on their bodies, getting a lacrosse ball in. Like I said before, life predisposes you to these issues. You're sitting with a constant forward posture over your computer. Guys like Omar, maybe not as much so, maybe got a little more time on his hands, could probably get a lacrosse ball in there. But to me, I don't have a lot of time with a lot of athletes I work with. I might have 1 or 2 days to fix them. So one of the things I like to do is, beyond the soft tissue work, I like to do a little dry needling or electroacupuncture, because sometimes muscle's just a dumb piece of meat, and it's the nerve that innervates that muscle that is telling it to stay in that position. And one way I find I have affect control is with a little electroacupuncture. So I'll often needle the tissue and produce a stimulation to get it to pulse a bit. So you can feel a little bit of pulse there.
Yep.
And if I'm not getting as much as I like, then I'll hit it a couple different other ways. So he's got a really tight bundle in here with the pec major even, which is still going to contribute to some of that forward tipping. You're probably going to see a good tap here.
Oh, I feel that.
So if you look in close, you can see my fingers coming up with their activation.
And so Chris, talk to me here now. Me in particular, you've been treating me for a while. My shoulder was feeling way worse before I saw you. What was the problem?
One of the big things for you was that forward tipping.
Chris, you just laid the science down. There's a lot of big terms. I understood about 30% of it. So what are we talking about here when it comes to the shoulder?
Well, the scary point is that is 30% of about 1 million more percent. Right. I've been working at this thing for 10 years, and this is the tip of the iceberg.
The tip of the tip, I like it.
Yeah, but beyond that, I'm just trying to give people a basic understanding of the force vectors involved with the shoulder, the importance of doing accessory work to supplement all your bench and all your overhead pressing.
Yeah.
I see guys come in every day, kid you not, and I could literally tear their pec off when I'm doing soft tissue work. And overall, I kind of want to save my hands. I want more people to take care of themselves.
Right.
So when you can, get a lacrosse ball there. You, average lifter there, is probably driving an hour to work, driving an hour home, sitting in front of a computer for 8 hours, whatever it may be. Do you think 33 seconds of lacrosse ball work is effectively going to change things that you've been doing for the last 27 years of your life?
This is true.
Probably not. But at least work in that direction, and remember that your diagnosis, it's not a scapegoat. Like, there are functional things that you can change in this whole thing.
Yeah.
You were diagnosed with a bicep tendonitis or tendinopathy. Big freaking deal. Like, get in and fix the functional things. Empower yourself to do it. Do some accessory work, and if you need to, consult a professional. I'm in Toronto, so if you're in Toronto, come see me. If you're in California, fly me out there. Whatever works for you. I do work abroad. But beyond that, just the key takeaways: work on it.
Yeah.
And if not, see a professional.
I will say for myself, before seeing Chris, my shoulder was fucked. And then after getting treated, like figuring out all those things, like the lack of external rotation and whatnot, I came back, my shoulder felt better, and I hit that 350 bench press. I get tested. For those that aren't in Toronto, though, they can't be treated by you specifically. Can they follow you anywhere? Like, do you do social media?
Yeah, I'm not a huge social media guy. I'm usually treating people, but when I do check my Instagram account once every 3 weeks, it's C Klatchan, that's K-L-A-C-H-A-N, or I do a little bit of Twitter at Dr. Chris Klatchan. So either will work.
Yeah, and guys, once again, this is the tip, just the tip of the tip. If you want to see more, if you want to figure out what the hell is going wrong with you and maybe how to correct it, some good general tips, make sure to like this damn video. Leave a comment in the comment section below what you want to see from Dr. Klatchan. Thank you so much for watching this video. Chris, thank you for being on. If you like the damn video, make sure to like the video, and I'll be seeing all you guys, my rascals, in that next video. Peace!